Join the revolt.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. And thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Yeah. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Yeah, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Oh, 1 second here. Let me. Well, I've already messed up, and we're just like a couple seconds into the show. Oh, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to Same Cues, Different Views, episode 5. Sorry about that little hiccup there. We're 5 deep now, 5 episodes.
Yes.
Hanging in there. We are your hosts, Parabellum and Hex 7. We've got a pretty good show for you guys. Now, there's been a lot of stuff happen this week. Sorry, let me fix my mic here. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened this week. We've had a lot with Biden, the cancer, Trump in South Africa. Like, there's been a whole crap ton of stuff, and we're going to try to touch on some of that tonight. We can't get it all in. It's Friday night for you guys, but it's Thursday for us, as this show is pre-recorded. If you're watching, that means right now I'm probably packing for vacation, getting ready to head out to the beach.
Absolutely. Much needed, Hex. Much needed.
Much needed. Very much needed. Hoping to find a cold drink with an umbrella in it. Do they have beer with an umbrella in it?
Hey, you know what? You could just steal one from somebody's margarita and it'll work all day.
Okay. I may try that.
Yeah, just steal an umbrella.
Anyway, hope everybody's having a good Friday evening. Let's get into it. The first thing I kind of wanted to pull up here is my sister recently had got to go to Washington, and like she works for ARH Medical, and she was picked to speak at some kind of event that pertains to like food and healthy food and
Cool.
food being a healing food.
Sounds like it's going to RFK alley.
Yeah. Well, apparently there were like a lot of left wing people there that was against some of RFK and Trump stuff, but my sister
is going to be.
My sister is a conservative to the bone.
Well, I love to hear that, especially in the medical field.
So I just want to give a good shout out to her and a salute. Want to play this little clip of her. I'm so proud of her. Anyway, let's watch this.
We're proud of her too, being with a conservative view in the medical field. That is something that is rare. It's new, but it's going to dominate. So glad to hear that.
Heck yeah. Let's give it a little play here and give a little applause and hat tip to my sister. She done awesome.
Wish to have my hat, but there it is.
You're sort of building, your children will carry these on. Can you talk about, why that's important?
Absolutely. One thing that we're doing, or that I've set forth to do this year, is our community-based action plan is to reach out to college students. We're going to do some videos for healthy eating on a budget. Another place that I always talk about and I'm very passionate about and see impact is our wound care centers. Our wound care centers are ridden with diabetics who are in wheelchairs, who can't walk, who have non-healing ulcers on their feet that just don't get better. A lot of that's understanding nutrition. And if you don't know what to eat, you're not going to get better. If we reach out to those people and we teach them what to do, we've watched it in our wound care center. We have a fantastic diabetic educator, Ashley Webb, who does a lot of outreach with those diabetic patients in teaching them how to eat, what their diagnosis means. ARH provides those patients with a food basket to go home with, to recreate the meals that they're eating, with food cards. These people can heal their problem if they are educated and they have the foundation to do so. So I feel like that makes a huge change if we work with our young people and we teach people about their diagnoses and that medication's not always what's going to correct their problems.
So exciting. And if you don't know what you eat, if you don't know what to eat, you won't get better. But if you do know what to eat, you will definitely get better.
Food is definitely medicine, and I'm definitely, Herman and I both, living proof of that. Like I said, we are a couple of voices that are millions of voices across the nation if the availability is there.
Round of applause for her, please. It's really inspiring.
Absolutely. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. I love that. For me personally, that means a whole lot to be able to see that point of view of somebody that's in the medical field. And you commonly mistake people that are in college or in the medical field. They've been indoctrinated on the far left ideology. But what you do see is you see a new movement of conservative medical field and conservative professors that are coming in. And I'm absolutely glad to see that. But why this video means so much to me, Hex, is that I do have a 10-year-old diabetic, type 1 diabetic daughter, and she is absolutely educated, and everything that your sister said there, hey, food is the way you need to go. You need to understand the food that you put in. You need to break off the old stigma of just put an old spoonful of jelly down your throat from the old school ways. Let's educate these people. Let's get them, any kind of the medicine that they need, and I absolutely stand by that 100% from a personal experience with my daughter.
I do too. I don't mean to be a hypocrite here. Well, I mean, you are what you eat, but my wife can tell you that I don't eat that healthy. Like, I eat stuff that's like greasy, bad for me, a lot of fast foods and stuff like that. But I agree with you 100% on that. Like, and what she said on that, if you don't eat the right foods, you're not going to get better.
Absolutely.
And this goes back to like RFK, like he's talking about all these additives and stuff in food.
Absolutely.
We, in our country, we have the highest obesity rate ever of any country. We have diabetes. We have, diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, all that. And it's all because of food additives that's been put in our foods, and people just don't really see that. And she's like right on point with that. Eat healthy foods, eat homegrown. If you can raise a garden, like I raise a garden, you raise a garden, Parabellum, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got a garden out there.
Try to do more of that.
No fertilizers. We do it naturally, because that's the best food you can put in your body, and that's the best way for what your sister was talking about, diabetics, to be able to lower those carbs and make it more healthier for your for anybody that's maybe diabetic in your family. Eat right.
Again, I'm like 100% for this, but at the same time, I'm not trying to sound like a hypocrite, but I don't eat that healthy. I need to, especially
nor do
especially
I.
being 50 years old. But this is what we were brought up in. This is what we have to eat. So we were brought up in that. So
absolutely, dude. Like myself, hold on one second. Myself, I don't eat healthy neither. I love smoking meats on the grill, and I want that high fat calorie. And let's render that fat down on that Wagyu, baby.
Yeah,
get it. I love that stuff, dude. It's some of the best tasting flavor. But having a daughter that is type 1 diabetic at such a young age, and seeing what she had to go through, it put me on a path of at least understanding, a perspective that puts me in the middle ground. It doesn't quite necessarily change me, but for the best possible opportunity for her, with what your sister was saying, absolutely pay attention to the carbs and the food you eat. Pay attention to the, is it keto? Is it good keto? There's a lot of bad keto out there.
High fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup will kill you. It's the world's worst that you could ever put in a diabetic. There's plenty of alternatives out there. And if you're anybody that has anybody in your family that's diabetic, I wish you the best. And I hope that you take your path to find better foods and good alternatives.
I don't have it pulled up, but this all goes back to what, like I think it was last Friday's show, we were talking about this. And I was talking about, the thing with RFK and these additives and stuff in that, and how it could, save the country money. Because like, if you get these additives out of food, there's no need for like, I think it was Trump was lowering drug prescriptions is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So if you get these additives out of food and stuff like that, like imagine how much money it could save the country, like with Medicaid paying for people with, diabetic medicine and stuff like that. If we get these additives out, less people are going to need that kind of medicine, which is going to save the country money.
Absolutely. I think the program that RFK has done and what Donald Trump has done with RFK has been great. He basically said, look, I am the president, but I'm giving you the keys to the health department. You go out here and you take care of this, buddy. And RFK has went out there, and I have to say everything that he has came up with and had talked about, the additives and the dye, and a lot of these restaurants switching to beef tallow, which is a great thing to switch to. If you're using these sunflower seed oils and vegetable oils, this is probably some of the worst things you could ever
canola.
Yes, it's world awful, man. But here's the other great thing. You ever remember, like, and maybe you heard your grandparents talk about it, or your father or your mother, how great food used to be at these restaurants? It used to be amazing because they did things like beef tallow, and they didn't have additives, and it was real food, and it was real good for you. They did so much better, but over the years we just started adding a bunch because we cared more about the almighty dollar, and because we did that, we reduced the value of that dollar.
It seemed like I seen here recently that McDonald's had switched back to beef tallow.
Absolutely. I think McDonald's
put their fries in.
Chick-fil-A, a lot of places have flipped to beef tallow, and I promise you can even order it on Amazon and put it in your own personal home fryers, and it is some of the best flavored deep fried stuff you'll ever get, and it's way more healthy for you.
There's some, I'm not going to get into it tonight, but there's some Q stuff around that too with McDonald's, and them switching back to that, and the whole thing with Trump and all, but again, I'm not going to get into that.
Hey, maybe we can do a segment later on. It'll be Q and M's. Or we can flip it upside down and be like Q and W's, you know, when they went all.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Maybe, maybe we can possibly get my sister to come on here one night and talk about,
That'd be great.
this kind of stuff. And we can
I
have a
love
whole
that you use the example
big,
of
huge
diabetes.
ass segment on it one night.
I
with
know
her.
she's more educated than just the realm of diabetes, but for me, that's
Oh yeah,
personal.
she is
And I
very.
love that she uses that as an example.
Look, my sister is way more educated than I am.
That is,
I mean,
that
hell,
is
she made it to Washington.
absolutely great.
Anyway,
The brain.
yeah, we can do that. The other thing too, like I've got another friend of mine on Facebook who had posted something recently about the cancer treatment and ivermectin, methylene blue and stuff like that. Like she had posted about that. I commented on her post, but I've not messaged her about it. And I thought about maybe having her come on the show and talk about that kind of stuff because she's got a friend who was diagnosed with cancer, and he started this regimen of ivermectin and methylene blue, and he's trying to see how it goes. So,
I think that's really cool, especially bring a guest on. Oh, we love that.
Mel Gibson, I don't know if you'd seen the clip of Mel Gibson, but he was talking about it on Joe Rogan show about those drugs. And he had 4 friends who had, or 2 or 3, 4 friends, something like that, who had stage 4 cancer. And they started doing this regimen of ivermectin, methylene. Is that what am I pronouncing that right? Methylene blue.
Methylene blue. Yep.
Yeah. So, they started that, and he said now they're cancer free. So I mean, like she's got a friend that's doing that.
There's a lot of people out there, man. A lot of herbologists. Oh, I can't remember exactly what they call them at this point in time. There's, a lot of people in the natural herbal world of things that say, look, we've been able to do this forever, and your number one killer for cancer is sugar, apparently, from what I've heard from my experiences. And start removing that sugar, start removing that salt, and then it gets into a larger conversation. We won't get into that about opening
we'll save all this stuff for another show, but let's get into
I'm a little educated on the matter, so it'd be a great conversation.
I'll hit my sister up, and I'll hit this other lady up that I'm friends with on Facebook, and maybe we can have them come on the show, and they can give their take on this stuff. But let's get into this first really usual starter of the show.
Oh, absolutely. Hey,
stock and financial news.
What? Stock and
I apologize. I've got the same comic in there. I didn't have time. Again, I'm getting ready for vacation, so I didn't have time to make a whole new comic and put in there. Or find a whole
all right. I'm down with that. Maybe that becomes like the background of stock and financial news. Who knows? But as far as stock and financial news goes for this week, as far as what I've seen, is that there were 6 days in which the United States economy was in the positive. We moved up anywhere between 0.5% to 1.2%. So it's 6 straight days of positivity where the NASDAQ, Dow Jones, and the S&P 500 was all in the green. Okay, so then we run into the next day, and we have one day, the 7th day, where we did go down. Okay, and we lost in the economy. I think it was 1.8%. We dropped in all markets, kind of across the board. A lot of people freak out about that. The stock market, guess what? It goes up, it goes down. But a lot of the main contributors of that was due to we were right in the middle of the big, beautiful bill passing,
Oh, yeah.
And, people kind of get a little worried on the market. What's going to happen? What are we going to do, as far as that goes with the big, beautiful bill. So that kind of brings me back. I want to talk a little bit about something. You remember back in the day, Hicks, when people were like, presidents don't set gas prices and all this crap, they don't do this to the economy. That's not their job. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny because I remember from day one telling people out there, from my personal point of view, was that they may not set the prices, but let's not be ignorant. A leader or foreign leader's political influence always has influence on the world's market and can change the market. And I think that this is yet another prime example of how the market can be influenced or changed simply because people get worried about something,
So it was up kind of a little bit today after Trump,
It
got
was
the
actually.
big
I think
beautiful bill passed. If I'm
it
not
did.
mistaken,
Let me bring that up. So we got the big. So the
I've got
initial
I've,
day of the big
I've got it
beautiful
here.
bill is dropped.
Or you
Yeah.
got it? Okay, go
Well, I
ahead
got
and
it
add
right
it.
here. Yes, sir.
Oh,
You
I
want
can add it to the screen if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead and add it to the screen. That'd be great if you got it ready to go. We did have a little bit of a mixed result today, but it is showing that there is upward trajectory.
Okay, so let me biggie size it. There you go.
Oh, that's the big beautiful bill. That's what you're talking about. Okay.
Oh yeah, is that
I'm
not
so
what you wanted?
No, that's okay. Yeah, we'll definitely go through that. That's as far as
Oh.
into the big beautiful bill. We'll get into that next. But as
Oh well,
far
if you got something to, yeah, go ahead and get what you're going to get through, and then there's
that's
that.
okay. As far as the market goes today, the Dow index closed literally at 0.0%. It literally closed even, right? So we was down 1.8% yesterday. S&P 500, it closed at negative 0.04%. So we're pretty much close to even across the board. And the NASDAQ index was up 53 points. That's 0.28%. Okay, so what you can see from that, at least what I gather from that, is that you do see that there is a little influence from political leaders when it comes to bills and what it does to the market. Much unlike what the Democrats said, is that some president can't set gas prices. I call you out on that, and I say horse shit. It can't happen because influence is a powerful factor. But what you see is we are back on the upward trajectory, and I think it will continue to go that way, in my personal opinion, the more that this bill becomes solidified. And we're on our way to the Senate with that, and that's something we can get into next.
Okay, well, we got the big beautiful bill up there on the screen.
What about that, man? Big beautiful bill passes today, Hicks. What do you got to say on that, dude?
Oh,
This
I
is
love
big
it.
news.
I freaking love it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to give this a read, or you want me to try to give it a read?
Oh, I'll give it a read, buddy. Yeah, I'll run
Okay.
it across. So a lot of people, let's talk a little bit about what people are saying on both points of views as far as the big, beautiful bill. So you got the conservative side. They're saying this is absolutely great. This is going to be good for you. It's going to be good for small businesses, middle class, and it'll be good for the rich. Apparently people have a problem letting it be good for the rich. I have a whole nother point about that. I think if you help the rich, you help the poor. But it's just simple as it goes for me. But you got the liberal point of view. They are coming out in public and they're saying that he didn't include no tax on tips, and he didn't include, no tax on overtime, and everything that Donald Trump said was going to be in that bill is a lie. Have you seen that stuff going around on Facebook, Hex?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's ridiculous. Like where do these people get their mindset? What the funniest thing about that is the no tax on tips was put in a bill in the House a week ago, and it passed separately. Did you know that?
I'll tell you where most of these people get their mindset from. That is,
okay,
the brainwashed media, or not the brainwashed. I'm sorry, the fake media that puts this shit out.
Absolutely. And I run into Democrat friends of mine on Facebook, and I don't really put them on blast. I'm not going to say no names, but there's Democrat friends of mine, and they post stuff that is the craziest thing I've ever seen. They're saying,
trust me.
have you seen it, dude?
I've got Democrat friends that do the same thing.
He's stealing your taxes, and he's not doing what all this crap is going down. I'm like, dude, if you guys went to the whitehouse.gov and checked and
do your freaking homework.
Do your homework, dude, before you get out there all emotional, Democrats.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny to sit back and watch them lose their cool because Donald Trump's actually doing something good, But as far as the big, beautiful bill, what is it? What's 5 of the largest things that's in the big, beautiful bill, and why is it so important?
Well, they're on the screen if you want to give them a read. I'll scroll
Here we
through
go,
as you
man.
read.
This is with Donald Trump going through, just like his first term, he had a large tax cut, and it broke the record in American history. This one, number one, it's the largest tax cut in American history. What does that mean? It'll deliver permanent tax cuts and bigger paychecks. This means an extra $5,000 in American pockets with double-digit % decrease to their tax bills, okay? Less taxes for you, more money. Americans earning between $30,000 and $80,000 will pay around 15% less in taxes. This bill also includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and it also provides historic tax relief to Social Security recipients. No tax on Social Security? Are you kidding me? It's going to slash that huge. I mean, this is something that's been going on in our media for 50 years. Why is this getting taxed when it gets taxed and it gets taxed and it gets taxed? And why are our elderly getting taxed on Social Security? What about our retirement 401k?
Again, this goes back to what I said about Social Security being a pyramid scheme.
Yes.
That's all it is. You've paid these taxes in, and you're drawing Social Security, from this tax that you had paid in, and then they tax that shit.
Yes.
That's bullshit.
They absolutely do. And you know what that does? And you know what that creates that I've seen?
That's taxation without representation.
Absolutely. Taxation without representation. And it's a whole lot of illegalities going on. But I also see people, because they're put in that impossible situation. You take people that are 30, 35 years old and they hit a hard time. They try to cash out on their 401k or their Social Security, and they take the payments from the IRS, right?
Yep.
And then when you retire, you're screwed, man. Yep. So,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, people, this is absolutely important that this happens. Number two, a lot of confusion on Medicaid. You have a lot of liberals out there. They're trying to take your Medicaid. They're going to take it away from you and repeal Obamacare, and you're going to be left without a doctor. Have you heard that crap yet?
I heard it this morning on CBS News.
Oh, God, dude. Like, what are these people drinking? Like Jim Jones Kool-Aid? I don't know if it comes out in like a sugar-free
the other
Kool-Aid
morning, I'm
bag,
sorry.
but they're drinking it, dude. It protects Medicaid for Americans basically by removing waste, fraud, and abuse that is attached to Medicaid. Who doesn't want to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse for Medicaid? Let's see. What are we talking about? 1.4 million illegals are actually receiving, illegal immigrants are receiving Medicaid as we speak right now. They crossed illegally into the country. They gained all benefits. To me, if you're just simply a person with the common sense of looking right or wrong, is this right or wrong? Let's not put our heart or our emotions into it. Logically, that's wrong, man.
Yeah.
Why are you getting benefits? I love it. Yes, that's it. Okay, so also, what's a few things. It makes President Trump's border security permanent. What does that mean? Me personally, I'm for it. You're going to have a lot of liberals and a lot of other people, maybe in the comments, they're going to say nasty things like, we hate Trump and don't build the wall and all this. But what does this do? It funds President Trump's border wall. Okay.
Yeah. Because let's face it, Joe Biden pulled a crap ton of illegals into this country. He was flying them in. That's the other thing too, is like the what was it? The CBP app.
The CBP app. Yep.
Yeah. During the Biden administration, that was used to bring illegals into this country. Trump has turned the tables on that, and now it's being used to get illegals out of the country.
Out of the country. Yes. Thanks for creating that program. Is Trump not a genius or what?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'll make it work for me.
The man plays 5D chess.
You are not kidding, buddy. But so what else does it do for the border security? It also boosts Border Patrol and ICE agents on the front lines. It empowers border officials with adequate resources to finally carry out their mission, funding at least 1 million annual removals and hiring 10,000 new ICE patrol agents, 5,000 new custom officers, and 3,000 new Border Patrol agents to be able to do their job. And that's great. You know what?
Oh, yeah.
Illegal crossings at this point are down 99.9%. And if you pass this bill right now in the Senate, you're going to guarantee that continues even when Trump is gone, because you have enough people in Border Patrol and ICE that are going to be able to take care of that job for you, so long as Democrats and liberal ideology doesn't intervene.
Yeah.
The new one that got into that was air traffic control. That's been a big thing going on. You heard anything about the air traffic control and the lack thereof here lately, Hicks?
I had seen some stuff on it talking about the DEI hires and air traffic control and
Absolutely,
that
that's
kind
it.
of thing.
Yes, there's a whole lot of DEI hires, and I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of DEI hires. That just says I'm going to hire you based off of race, creed, or color. And as far as I've grown up in America, that is the discrimination clause of the reasons why I wouldn't fire you or hire you. So it doesn't make much sense to me with DEI because that seems like a total offset, you know? It
Yep.
doesn't make sense to me. But what this is going to do is
Well-
it's go ahead.
Oh, and again, like I had seen too, also recently, like an article, I can't remember where I read it at or seen it at, but they were talking about how air traffic control systems are way behind
Oh, they're
and-
so outdated.
and way outdated. So, like this is great right here. I'm not a frequent flyer, but
Yeah.
I don't want people to get involved in plane crashes because we have crappy air traffic control systems. So, this is
Absolutely,
great.
man. I mean,
Nobody wants to lose their family member to an airplane crash.
no way, no how. That needs to be the safest mode of travel.
Yep.
Mode of travel. And at one point, it used to be the safest mode of travel.
I remember hearing growing up,
plane crash after plane crash.
growing
Go
up,
ahead.
I remember hearing you're safer in an airplane
Mm-hmm.
than you are on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And then here lately, it's gotten freaking
You're right.
insane with the
It's
plane
gotten
crash.
bad. There's a plane crash after plane crash after plane crash. And what that generally tells you is if you look at things like even infrastructure, right? We go out there, we build a bridge, and 10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they're like, oh, this bridge is safe and everything's great. But you ain't put money into infrastructure because you wrote some bullshit $1 trillion bill that was for infrastructure, but not a dollar went to infrastructure. Then that bridge collapsed.
Yeah.
Those fucking people, That's kind of like what's going on with the air traffic control deal. So Donald Trump understands this, and I think he realizes it, man. And he's like, let's update our air traffic control system, update the programs, update the technology in which it would require less people to be able to operate that technology and do just as good or a better job. That's a beautiful thing, man. The best thing about this bill, well, maybe not the best. I won't say the best, but something
I'm probably right there with you on this last part.
I'm excited about
because I'll tell you.
I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes.
It does take guts.
It ends taxpayer-funded sex change for minors. This is the big, beautiful bill. Again, guys, we're going over the top 5 things that's great about this bill. It ends taxpayer-funded sex changes for minors. Okay, what do you think about sex changes for minors, Hex? How does that go for you?
Me personally, I disagree with it 100%. Like this whole entire movement pushing sex changes on minors,
Absolutely.
teaching that kind of stuff in school to 3-year-old. Like, we had this on, what was it, episode 2 or 3? We had done the Sesame Street thing and talking about that and how Sesame Street was pushing that kind of shit. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm totally against that. Why does a 3-year-old need to know about gender?
They have no idea, dude.
Like when I was 3 years old, all I wanted to do was play with my Hot Wheel cars.
Yeah, exactly. These kids are literally running around, eating their boogers at this age and running into the wall because they don't have the awareness or the cognitive ability has not rest enough yet for them to understand such comprehensive conversations.
Yep. So, here's the other thing on this too is, like you were talking about, you're 3 years old, you're running around eating boogers.
Mm-hmm.
A child's mind at that age is very moldable. Moldable, is that the word I'm looking for?
Absolutely. You can mold it, you can manipulate it very easily.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So you don't put that kind of stuff into that young of a child.
No.
When they're that, that young and that small, because you're sculpting and shaping that child's mind.
Absolutely.
With these radical left ideas. I never done that with my kids. Look, I've got 3 boys. I'm not going to go into what, each of them believe in and stuff like that, but I never pushed my beliefs on my kids.
Right. Well, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't like to push my belief on children. I had grandparents that raised me for a large portion, and they were highly religious. But you know, the coolest thing that I think they ever did for me when I got older and I was able to comprehend and look back in hindsight the way that they tried to introduce me to religion. Now, I'm not a religious person. I don't really follow that kind of a lifestyle, but I have no quarrels or qualms with it. I absolutely support people that want to believe in God and go the religious route. But what was cool is there was no oppression in my childhood of my family trying to put their belief on me. You know what they do? They just set that old Bible on the end of the nightstand and say, if you ever have any questions, you can look at that, or maybe you don't want to look at that. It's okay. Either way, I love you. You know,
Yep.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same thing for like children trying to get sex changes for minors. These kids are not ready for those decisions at all, man. You know, and this is not a topic that you can set on the end of the nightstand. Okay. I just don't believe that at all. But as far as that goes, that's the big, beautiful bill. That's some of the top 5 things. It also does go further into funding the big golden dome that Donald Trump is trying to get.
Oh, the golden
Missile
dome.
defense
Yeah.
security system for America. And I think that's great.
Because you had the Iron Dome, and you know, like we've got
Yes.
the golden dome now.
You had the Iron Dome. Absolutely.
And Trump, you know, like he's been talking about this, America's golden age, and like everything so far has been gold. And we'll get into a little bit of that gold stuff here coming up. I've got a little bit of Q stuff I'm going to throw in here coming up. So
absolutely. And I hope to the viewers, anybody watching this, just looking at the top 5 things of this big, beautiful bill, you know, I know there are some conservatives and some Republicans that are out there that may have, he's spending too much money, or this possibly isn't good for us, and we shouldn't be doing this because of the deficit. You know, one thing I'd like to kind of put out there for a lot of people, I kind of got into a little Facebook argument today with the conservative that was like, he's spending too much money. Where's your principles? You know, the difference is simply this, man. It's the actions in which the previous administration spent money, and then Donald Trump's administration has spent money.
dude, you
really
just had a ghost walk behind you. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I absolutely did. My lady walked in there behind me. She's trying to get a drink. We're having a good time. We're just shooting the shit in politics, right?
But go ahead, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're okay. Absolutely, man. So what a lot of people, I think they have a hard time understanding, even if you're conservative and you have a hard time understanding that, oh gosh, this is going to add to the deficit. Please take a moment to look at what the Biden administration spent trillions on. Okay. Trillions on, look at Doge and what they've uncovered, where that money went. We could pop up a list for you, but I'm sure you've heard of it by now. Transgenderism, and
you can go to the Doge website and look this stuff. You follow Elon on X, and Elon posts this shit.
It's there. They got a Doge Alive tracker of the money that they're saving. But
and then hold on one second here. You want to know? Give me 1 second here. Let me pull this up real quick.
Go ahead. What I say is the money for Trump, what he's spending it on, that is positive action that's going to come back to the people. That's going to come back to America. That's going to make your life greater. And if there ever was a time to spend money, that time is now. Because Donald Trump is a once-in-a-lifetime chance where you get somebody that puts a chokehold and a strangle on the world market, and he changes everything to where it will benefit America. You almost have a golden shot at rebuilding the country because of the moves he made. If there ever was a time to spend money, now is the time to spend those trillions. Don't worry about the deficit. You vote on it. If Joe Biden's in there and he wants to go chop wieners off in, Ethiopia, vote against it, people. That's wasted money. But look at what we're spending money on today. I ask our fellow conservatives and Republicans, please take a moment to look at that. That's my spill. Go ahead there, Dan.
Okay. This is usdebtclock.org. You guys can go, type that web address in, and it'll take you right to the site, and you can see up on the upper left corner of the screen, you've got the U.S. national debt. You've got Doge clock, you got savings per taxpayer. The Doge clock is calculating what Doge has saved, and then the savings per taxpayer kind of breaks it down to per taxpayer what they've saved. But then there's a lot of other good information on here too you can look at. So anybody wants to check that out.
What was the name
US
of the website? You posted the
US
comments? You want me to?
Yep, I can. Well, we don't have live comments, but
Oh,
I
that's right. I'm sorry. Forgot. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
let me see if I can. How can I do that here? Well, anyway, I don't know how to get it while we're doing this, but it's USDEBTCLOCK.org. If anybody
All right.
wants to go check that out.
Check it out. See what's really going on. Follow the money, people, from the political stock news and stock market and practical news guy. Follow that, man. Follow the money. See what's really happening. Open your heart, open your mind, open your perspective to what's really going on.
All right. So bear with me 1 second here. Oh.
Hey, there's X. We're on big screen.
Oh, my button went away here.
That's all right. Hey, anything, like I said, anything in here that you want to delete or edit later on, we can always remove this stuff. Chop it out, put it forward for the record.
Well, we had a pause button, but it's gone. I don't think we can edit anything.
You can't edit with this program?
No, hold on 1 second.
May have to put it through another program. Sorry about that.
We're still recording.
Oh, no, that's okay. Later on in hindsight.
Well, I wanted to take a pause there for a second, but
Dave's flashing today. He's flashing us. Look, he's flashing all over the screen.
sorry for my camera guys. I'm kind of glitchy. It's
okay.
me.
It kind of goes with the skull.
It's me coming out of the matrix.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to play this clip right here. We'll get into this. This is Trump kind of media, some stuff with Trump in the media. So I'm going to play this clip.
The Olympics, and then we got through Johnny, who's the boss. He's a friend of mine. We got the World Cup. I got them both, and I said, man, I won't be president. I got the Olympics and the World Cup, and I won't be president. And they're going to forget that I got them. Nobody's going to mention it because, a little bit, that's the way life is. And then they rigged the election. And then I said, you know what I'll do? I'll run again, and I'll shove it up their ass. And that's what I did. And all of a sudden, I then realized, I said, you know what? I got the Olympics, I got the World Cup, and I got the 250th. Look at the way this works out. So if they would have left us alone and wouldn't have cheated on the election and wouldn't have rigged it, I would have been retired right now. I would have been happily doing something else. And instead, they have me for 4 more years. Can you believe it? Yeah. So it has
All right, so that was that clip.
Man, that was great.
Apologize about the delay.
That's all right. I had to take a little break in the middle of that one.
So that was Trump on the MSM.
He went off on the media. Absolutely what they said there. He said basically, and I love it, I voted for this. Dave or Hex, did you vote for this, man? I voted for this.
Heck yeah.
Good Lord, shove it up your ass. I love it. The guy, President Trump's just talking real to people. You don't get no better than this. This is just a moral, common sense person speaking just to the American people. That's what they understand. You know, it's so funny of a point that he made on that. He's like, I wasn't even going to run again, but you gave me a reason to. Now I'm going to shove it up your ass.
All right, so I've got I got some new updates on. If you guys have watched the past couple shows that we have had.
Ooh, tippy top, Q time, baby.
Yep, Q time. I have been I love Q time. I have been following this stuff.
Living
we-
on due time.
so we've had this tippy top thing going on. Let me remove the around the screen graphics here real quick. So we've had the tippy top stuff, that we've been talking about on the show, and Trump and Easter, and like the whole thing where an anon had asked Trump about or asked Q about Trump if Trump was Q plus, and asked to say, if Trump could say the phrase tippy top. Did I show that to you? Did we do that Saturday, Parabellum?
I believe we did.
I showed you that
brought up the
clip.
tippy top. Yep, that was great.
Okay. So anyway, we had that, and then we had this, which that was
5-5 loud and clear.
the
Yes.
5-5 loud and clear. We've had that, we've been going over that the past couple shows, and 5-5 loud and clear, leading to the whole thing with Trump being Q plus, who was posting on the boards. And you had Dan Scavino had posted, if you look at the bottom right of the screen, the little yellow highlight circle areas, those are highlighting fives. That was from a video that was posted by Dan Scavino, which was 5-5 comms. So those 5-5 comms were pointing to this drop right here, which is and again, if you go back and watch the last show, the drop was or the post by Dan Scavino was made at 10:28. So I've got Q 1028 pulled up here, and Q 1028 has 5-5 Q plus, kind of giving a little bit of confirmation that Trump is Q plus. So, that was pretty interesting. That's what we went over last week on the show, and a couple weeks before. But we recently had this pop up, and Trump had retruthed this on Truth Social. And I don't know if anybody follows Trump on Truth Social. I'm on Truth Social, X, and Facebook. But Trump had posted this on Truth Social, and it's a picture of him, and it's 1776. We are taking back our great country. So the cool thing about that is, like, I didn't catch it at first, and I think somebody else had pointed it out. And then I went back and looked, and I'm like, oh my God, they're right. But the thing that he had the other anon had pointed out was, you zoom in on that post, on that picture in the post, look on Trump's collar. It's got a Q plus. That's pretty interesting. And then Trump went on to, bear with me one second. Let me upload some more slides here. So anyway, Trump went on to post this following. Oh, 1 second here. Okay. I got you, Parabellum. Bear with me 1 second. Let me.
All good. I was just shooting you some information coming up, and I'm about to drop a nasty bomb on you to talk about.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Again, I'm trying to run through this really quickly.
Yeah.
So Trump, following that post, Trump had made this post, and it says, all roads lead to Obama. Retruth if you want public military tribunals. And then that made me think of Q894, which is on the left side of the screen there. Actually, I've got it, the whole drop in the center of the screen, but I've broke down the top and bottom half of that drop on the left side of the screen. So, or sorry, right side of the screen. 894, an anon had posted a picture of Donald Trump. When I'm done with you, it'll be like you were never here. And it's got a picture of Trump, kind of pointing his finger and poking Obama in the chest, having an argument. And Q replies, when we're done, he'll claim Kenya as citizenship as a way to escape. Q. So, that kind of happened, made me think of that too. But let's not forget, I don't know if anybody remembers this or not. Give me 1 second here to pull this up. Trump his golf course in Los Angeles.
One of many, baby. One of many.
Trump had put this painting up in his golf course in Los Angeles. It was a new painting this past year that he had hung up in his golf course. And within that, look at that painting really close there, because within that painting, it has John Durham and it has a Q in it. And the painting is entitled Trump Card. That's the title of the painting, Trump Card. But that's kind of interesting that he hung that up in his golf course.
That is interesting, especially since the Durham report just came out. Did you see that?
Well, oh, dude. Yeah. There is a lot around Durham, and we will probably get in. We will probably get into that, but not tonight. But anyway, it's really interesting. Like Parabellum said, that John Durham is in that painting, and that's interesting to him. And to me, it's interesting that it also has a Q in it, because Durham has some kind of, I don't know how I want to word this, but there's some things around Durham and Q. So anyway, back to Trump with the Trump card, that painting be entitled Trump Card. There's only, that I know of, there's only these drops that mention Trump Card. Drop 2936 and 1201. And drop 29.6 says, at what stage in the game do you play the Trump card? Q. And then drop 1201 says Trump card coming, Q. So Trump had recently, let me remove some of these slides here real quick, so I can add some more.
Trump card played, or trap card. What's the trap card played? What's that mean, Hex?
What?
What's trap card played? What's that mean? Trump
card.
Oh, well, it says trap card played. Nice work, Q. Then Trump card coming. Do we have a moment of dyslexia? Because I did.
Oh, yeah. Trap card. Okay, so I'm sorry. You're talking about the Anon on 1201.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. On the slide.
So what usually happens with Trump is, Trump baits them in. Like even if you don't follow Q, even if you're a MAGA supporter, you can see that, Trump baits these people into this stuff, into these traps. The Trump quicksand. I'm sure like you've heard this term on other news outlets or other, Facebook posts, X posts, whatever, the Trump quicksand. Mm-hmm. Every time they try to go after him, it's a trap, and Trump tricks him. So
another version of that is Trump with the African king. The interview, okay.
And another example of that would be, okay, so we talked about this. I think it was a couple shows ago. We talked about this is, they were going after Trump with his taxes back then, and right. Trump just kept, putting it off, and he made them get a Supreme Court order to go after his taxes. And then they looked at his taxes and there was nothing in his taxes.
Oh, it's the cleanest guy on the planet.
Yeah. So then they got that Supreme Court order that set a precedent. Then they went as far as to go after Trump's family to look into their taxes. And then they looked into their taxes and there was nothing there either.
That's what I'm saying. So Trump has released so much information, yet you ask one Democrat to reveal their taxes, we got a problem.
So with this trap card played, it's another trap card by Trump, because Trump done all that stuff with his taxes and got him to get these Supreme Court rulings to go after his taxes. Now we're in the phase to where, those Supreme Court rulings have been made. Guess what? What can you do?
You can't. You've already been.
You can go back. You can go back, like you've had Doge uncovering all this shit. And it's come to find out, we've came to find out that a lot of this money is going to these left-wing Democrats, but not directly.
Absolutely.
So on their paycheck, it shows that, they're only making blah, blah, blah a year, what they're supposed to be making. But where is this, like you've got Pelosi and all these other people in there who are who are getting rich. Look at AOC. I mean, like she came in, she was a freaking bartender. Is that what it was?
Absolutely. A bartender that showed up and all of a sudden, just because she has halfway good looks, you know what I mean? We've all
So-
seen the shells on the beach, AOC 69. Look, we get it, dude. But it doesn't mean she knows what she's talking about, okay? You're a guy, don't fall for it.
Okay, so with that, she come in as like I said, I think a bartender, if I'm not mistaken, is what she came in as, and now she's like worth a shit ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
She's not getting that off that salary she's making for what she's doing.
She's not. Just like
That-
multiple other politicians that are not making that salary.
Okay, now look back. Look back. What Doge uncovered about the Social Security being paid out to all these different people and all these, like 300 years old, 400 years old, and blah 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 blah, and stuff like that. Look at where that money's going. So now think back what I talked about with Trump and how they went after him with his taxes, and he made them get a Supreme Court ruling that they can look into his taxes. Well, guess what can happen now?
Yep.
Trump can look into their tax returns.
You damn right. He find all the
And on top of that, he can look into their family's tax returns, because a lot of this money isn't going to these politicians who are making a crap ton of money for no apparent reason. It's going to family members of these politicians, and then it's being, put into their bank accounts on a side note. So, that's what
a lot of information that was released about that.
So I think
James Comey goes.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, was it not James Comey? Republican representative. Was that James? That's not James Comey. Oh Lord. Hold on, give me a second.
But anyway, that's what they were getting at with this Trump card thing. The Anon was getting at is, Trump card played, nice work, because I'm not sure exactly what took place during that time, but that's kind of what it's pertaining to. But Trump card is coming.
Sorry about that. James Comer of Kentucky.
Oh, I love Comer. Comer's awesome.
Lord. Sorry, I had to make sure that was clear. Yeah, James Comer. He's been in the investigation of what happened to the money that went to Ukraine and that was sent to Joe Biden. And he's discovered lots of checks, $200,000 that went to them family members.
Yep. Okay, so painting titled Trump card. It's got Q in the painting. Okay. That we looked at here. Let's pull it back up one more time and take a peek at it. So you got Q in the painting on the, if you look at the zoomed in version of it that I put on the slide, right above the eagle, and then right under that by the American flag, you got Durham. So, you have the whole thing with Trump and the Trump card, and he's mentioned it several times, but one of the big times that I really loved, and I think we may have had this clip on the show that we've done here recently, but one of the big clips that I really liked was this one, and Trump talking about the Trump card. Let's give this a play and listen to it.
Going to be job producers, okay? They're going to be successful. They're going to produce jobs. But here's another thing. Apple comes to me. A lot of companies come to me. They say, sir, we just made a deal to hire the #1 student at the Wharton School of Finance or at Harvard Business School or anything else, or MIT or Stanford or any. But they're going to throw them out of the country the day after graduation. They'll buy these.
Why should any American kid become a computer
And by the way, they're going to
scientist?
call it either the gold card. The problem is there's many gold cards. Well, I will tell you what my people want to call it. It'll drive you crazy. It'll drive the left crazy. They want to call it the Trump card, because the Trump card sells much better than the gold card. Everybody has a.
So you're not worried about any unsavory people coming in and taking?
Yeah, I'm worried about unsavory, in which case we're going to.
They're going to be vetted.
Give them the money back and they get out.
They'll be.
Okay, so he's calling it the Trump card, straight out of the Q drops, So, wait, there's more. I'm like one of them infomercial guys.
Yeah, I got you. I understand your view and how that could possibly, that connects.
Yeah, just wait. There's more. Hold on.
I've been using that terminology Trump card for a long time, my friend.
So you got, let me, bear with me one second and I'll explain this one. Let me load a couple more slides up here.
Again, this is was similar cues, different, or
Same
Different
cues,
cues,
different
same
views.
cues, different views. Sorry about that. But the purpose of the show, basically, Hex, he is somebody who totally believes in conservative values and conservative media that's going on right now, and especially supports what Donald Trump is doing. I'm also somebody who supports what Donald Trump is doing. Hex is somebody that, in my personal opinion, somebody that follows the rabbit hole to follow it down on Q.
I'm definitely following a rabbit hole.
He is following that rabbit hole. So following that, some people would call conspiracy, some people would not. Following that down to find all kinds of information. I am Parabellum, and I stand for just basic conservative, practical news. This is normal people that are making normal decisions. This is normal corruption that happens in life. This is normal positivity that happens in life. And what you're going to see is you're going to see us go back and forth. Every now and again, we may have a discrepancy, but that's okay.
But the thing is, we're all on the same side.
We're all on the same side. Exactly right, Hex.
Whether you follow
on the views,
whether you follow MAGA or whether you follow Q or whether you follow both, we all want the same thing for this country.
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer in Q. So let's get into the rest of this. A little bit of a Q proof I've got lined up here. So we got this drop right here by Q, 2563. And Q says, where is the plus on a mobile phone? This is going to blow your mind, Parabellum.
Calculator.
Where is the plus on a mobile phone when dialing? Trolling the fake news. What happened to my camera?
There you go. You're back. Yeah.
I thought I might have went like completely out of the matrix. But anyway, where's the plus on a mobile phone when dialing? Trolling the fake news media is fun. At some point, the Q will be asked. So, and signs off with Q. So we have that. And let's take a look at this stuff right here. This is really interesting. So back, I think it was 2018, Trump, when he was president, Air Force One took off. And when Air Force One took off, like these are flight logs that you can look up online. I'm not sure exactly what private millair.com. But anyway, these are the actual flight logs and stuff like that. So when a plane takes off, a plane is assigned, you assign your plane a specific call number. When Trump took off on Air Force One in 2018 on this date, the plane, and this is not the only time, but the plane was assigned a call sign Q0. And everybody was like, what's that mean? So, you got that right there. I've zoomed in on it. That one is on the bottom or right on the right side of the screen. In the center of the screen, you've got the image of the plane in the air that was being tracked. And if you look what I've got highlighted in red there, it says Q0 military. And then if you look at the plane where I've got it highlighted, it says Q0 on that. And then you look over at the chart on the right side of the screen, call sign Q0. So you have that.
Oh, there's zero drop.
And I've zoomed in on here. Here's the zoom in of them. So you can see what I've just cropped those out and highlighted them and made them a little bit bigger so you could see them. So you got Q0 on all of those. That's what that plane was on that day, was Q0. So let's look at, I took a screenshot of my, why is this not removing from stage here? Remove, and there we go. So I took a screenshot of my cell phone.
Oh, 0+.
Do you get what I'm getting at there, Parabellum?
Yeah, I get what you're getting at. It's a stretch for me, but I get what you're getting at, buddy.
So there was not only that there was like I think FedEx planes or UPS planes, or like there was a whole bunch of them during that time. It went up as either under the call sign of that or Anon. A lot of them went up under Anon. So that's pretty interesting that you've got all this stuff pointing to Trump being Q plus with the 5.5, the drop on that. But like the big thing is, like I said, I think it was on last Friday night show, is like we're all waiting on is the the drop, or not the drop, but the post, because Q says, my fellow Americans, or exactly this, my fellow Americans, look to Twitter, the storm is upon us. That's the drop Anons are waiting on. That's when we know the shit's getting ready to get real. But there's been a lot of stuff happen, like the news lately this week, the past couple weeks. Would you not agree that it's been like insane with all the stuff that's came out? And then we got the Epstein files that look like they're getting ready to come out.
Oh yeah, the Epstein files. I think I just sent you a video about that. What's going on? What are we gonna do?
Yeah, let me pull that up here real quick and we'll look at it.
Yes. So this was some big, huge news coming out, especially being somebody myself who is the conservative view, Hex doing the conservative NQ view. We both follow Dan Bongino, but let's take a peek at the video that's getting ready to come up here about what they have to say about Jeffrey Epstein.
Bear with me 1 second here, and let's do that and share screen. Facebook video. Let's add that to stage.
Yeah, there we
go. There we go. Oh, I got to remove the other from stage. There we go. All right, let's add this. Make sure volume's up. Okay, let's give this a play.
All right, here we go. This is Dan Bongino, Kash Patel on Jeffrey Epstein. And if
yeah, I seen this. Like Epstein.
Now you followed Bongino. I followed Bongino. You know that his review was that, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, let's not give it away, but let's not give this away in case nobody's seen this yet. But I know what Bongino said, and I know what Kash Patel said, but at the same time, like there's some back kind of stuff behind that we may get into on the next episode. But let's give this a play and check it out, guys.
Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
You said.
All right, so.
Oh my Lord.
You guys make of that what you will. I've got my opinions on it based off of Q stuff. But again,
this is going to be one for the ages. Nobody will ever agree on this topic, whether Jeffrey Epstein killed himself or not. But
I mean, there is witness protection. I'm just, I'm going to put that out.
Right. There's your view. There's witness protection.
I mean, seriously, Google it and look at how many times witness protection has used a fake death to, somebody faked their death to put them in witness protection. So, is that what,
Elvis is still alive too. He's sorry, bro. But
that's all right. That's all right. So,
but no, so like my view on that though, I know you've got your view. We'll get later into that, but of course, from the conservative practical view, I'm going to tell you that Bongino is a United States Secret Service agent. He did that job diligently. He did it greatly. He did a wonderful show, Conservative News, going on. But this is a moment where you actually see hindsight, where somebody has to backtrack once they get the information and they see it, and based off their experience and knowledge, you see a man that can say, I might have been wrong. He killed himself. That's my view. We can continue.
Okay. So anyway, my next thing I was wanting to get into, like we were talking about the whole plane comms with Trump and Q Plus and stuff like that, is I wanted to play this little short clip here. This guy puts out some really good content. So this is some Q stuff, and then we'll end the Q stuff after this.
Right on.
Oh, wait. That wasn't it. Never mind. I thought I had that loaded up. Let me look one more time here. Oh, wrong clip. This clip. This is what I wanted to put up there.
Aviation call signs are unique identifiers assigned to aircraft, like a nickname, but the call sign doesn't have to be the same for every flight. In 2018 there were civil and military aircraft spotted flying with the call sign Q, or Anon. The United Parcel Service, the U.S. Army, and the U.S. Air Force. There was even a Royal Australian Air Force spotted flying with the call sign Anon. On December 7, 2018, Trump jumped on Air Force One to fly to Kansas. When Air Force One was wheels up, the call sign popped up as Q0. The fact that there was a Q in the call sign was big, but the question was, what did the zero mean? After the flight, Q confirmed that Q0 means Q+. That means Trump was flying with the call sign Q+. The reason that's big is because Anons think Trump is the person that posted on the Intel board as Q+. Not only does that point to Q, but it points to Trump being Q+.
Okay, so there's that
Nice. We're getting the call signs.
he explains it a little better than I did. But anyway, that's basically kind of what I was going to get at. We're going to get into the. Let me make sure I think that's everything we had. Yep. Okay. So, we're going to get into some badass clips. Who's ready for some badass clips?
Oh,
But before we get into the badass clips, I want to play one more video here, and I don't know if anybody's seen this, but Trump had recently met with what is he, Brian? What's his name? Or I'm sorry, Parabellum.
Let me look it up real quick. 1 second.
Anyway,
the African thing.
Yeah, South African leader. Trump had recently, you don't have to look it up, but Trump had recently met with a South African leader in the White House. And check this shit out right here. Give commentary while we're watching this, if you've got anything to say, because I'm going to like.
Oh, this was great.
It's
a
great.
Show of strength.
Oh, my God. You guys, if you guys have not seen this, check this out right here.
We have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories. And then, is Natalie here? Somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things. And I have to, it has to be responded to. Yeah, sure. Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And excuse me, turn the lights down. Turn the lights down. And just put this on. It's right behind you.
Get ready to show them that ass.
This parliament can do, with or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. Can we drop my membership from this useless parliament? Yes, honorable member. Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
Oh, just wait. What the hell is that shit?
Oh man, so what I see, man, like I know this continues for like another 10 minutes. Trump basically shows him 10 minutes of video.
I've got it all. I've got it all.
Yes. We can cut it short if you want to. We can talk about it. I don't know if you
let me fast forward here a little bit.
Yeah, let's get to the fast forward part. Yes, where Donald Trump speaks again.
So he's watching. Let me pause for a second. Basically, guys, what this video with Trump is playing is he's calling out him on his shit in South Africa. Like they're trying to kill white people. The dance they're doing and the song they're singing pertains around killing whitey.
White South African farmers. And this is starting to really gain traction and propel in the political world.
like Trump literally took him in here and took him to school. So let's watch a
So
little bit more of
he
this.
did allow the South African leader to be able to give him enough rope to hang himself.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And you can
that sounds awful.
just watch here because you can see it in his face here in just a couple seconds. Watch this.
I'm saying you was not caused for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future. Yeah, but I mean, do you understand something?
Oh, here we go. Now, watch it. He's looking at it right now, but then now look, watch him. He's like, oh, I done bad. I screwed up. I'm not even going to look at it. Trump's like, look at this. Look at the look on his face. He's just sitting there like, oh my God. Dude, you're annihilating me.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites.
He's like, oh really? Really? Burial sites?
Yeah, this is great. This is Donald Trump basically, hey, I'll give you every opportunity to sit there and say that there is no problem going on in South Africa where blacks are trying to kill and murder and commit racist crimes against white South African farmers. And then the second you say that, I'm going to show you a whole bunch of perfect information where you absolutely are committing those crimes.
Like, did you just see that where, like, you know, that video was playing and he was looking at it at first, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm not looking at that no more. He's got me. I'm in deep. He was like a little kid who knew that he had done something bad. That look on his face. But let's continue the last little bit of this.
Oh, yeah.
There's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving. They're stopped there to
like
pay
he's
respects
fidgeting
to
bad.
their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses.
I imagine he's sitting there holding onto that chair arm, looking at that screen, and I imagine his asshole is clenched up so freaking tight that it could like break a piece of coal in two.
Oh, I guarantee it. Yes, absolutely.
Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? I'd like to know where that is. He knows where the fuck that is.
This I've never seen.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Okay.
So anyway.
Yeah, the classic backpedal right there. This I've never seen. Yeah, the classic backpedal.
Seriously. The look on his and the way he was fidgeting in his chair the whole entire time, you knew he was a nervous wreck. He was like, "Oh my God, he has got me. This is live on TV. Like he has absolutely annihilated me." That's what I got from it by his actions and the way he wouldn't look at the screen at one point. He just kind of turned away. He was like, "Oh, this is bad. This is bad. I've done wrong. I'm being scolded like a dog."
The look on his face when he closed his arms and he leaned forward and he hung down a little bit, like he knew he was getting scolded like a dog. Like he knew what Trump was doing at that point. I'm going to call you out on your bull crap. And what an absolute Trump card. Boom. Yep. Played right there.
Damn, my camera, I swear, it just keeps glitching in and out.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the camera tonight, but
it's the Matrix.
Better HD resolution, and we'll go.
So anyway, let's get into some badass clips here. We've got a couple of them. The first one I want to open up with, following the video we just watched, is let's give this little quick clip a play here.
Thomas, leave us alone. Welcome to slaughtered, what the hell you gonna do? 47 crowned the leader of South Africa. You're now accountable, all the world can see how bad.
God bless church, people, AI, every bit of it, technology, all of it. Great.
Oh shit, I love that. Welcome to the White House. There's something I want to show to you.
You can absolutely believe that was a conservative Republican that made that meme, because Democrats and liberals try to make memes and they suck at it.
Oh shit.
That was great, man.
Yep, I thought that was good. I'm sorry everybody had to bear witness to my horrible singing abilities, but anyway, let's get into the next funny clip. Before we get into this next one, I just want to remind everybody this is a pre-recorded show. Go down there and smash that like button. We are going to play the last 2 episodes of Fall of the Cabal documentary that we have been watching over the past couple weeks. We're going to play those 2 tonight to close the show, but please go down, smash the like button, give us some feedback. But anyway, let's get into this next really funny clip. I thought this was pretty funny. I love the baby clips, so here we go.
Schiff and Shifty pencil neck. He's a marvel. No, he's a structural marvel. He has a neck, and his head is like a watermelon, and his neck. And how that neck can hold up that big, oversized, ugly head is hard to believe. No, it's true. Big head. It's like your finger on a basketball. Some of these guys, they spin it. No, he's a terrible guy. Think of it. Guys like Adam.
And then
now the poor guy, you gotta see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said.
Of course. You got to, man. That's great.
All right, so we got one last little clip here. Who likes dad jokes? I like dad jokes.
I love dad jokes. I watch the dad jokes on Facebook Reels all the time. They turned into aliens, but it was great when they were in duck blinds. I love dad jokes.
These aren't the alien dad jokes. These are political figure dad jokes in a baby form. So check this shit out.
What do you call an alligator in a vest?
What?
An investigator.
Investigator. Come on, Dad. Yeah.
I told my wife she should embrace her mistakes. She gave me a hug.
Unexpected, but
Why don't
we'll take it.
elephant use computer?
Why?
They're afraid of the mouse.
I like the little baby trout blowing his nose.
Why don't eggs tell jokes?
Why?
They might crack up.
All right,
That's
so
good.
that was that. Which brings us to the last bit of the show. We're gonna jump off here. We're not gonna give you any commentary on this. I'm just gonna play them and let you guys watch them. But thanks for tuning in tonight.
Well, absolutely. But let's, if you don't care, let's talk about maybe some possible things that might be coming in the next episode. If you don't care, real quick, we'll do a quick recap and then we'll play this final moment. Okay,
right.
So I'm going to be personally myself keeping an eye on James Comer and the investigations that he's been doing, and it's going to be into the Biden auto pin. So it apparently seems like they're zeroing in on the people who have use the auto pen during the Biden administration.
Yep, I'd wanted to get some of that on tonight's show, but I didn't think we could cram it all in. So
Well, it may appear that they may have sold off to the highest bidder. More to follow, not confirmed, but we'll keep our eye on that for sure. Because if they're selling off the Biden auto pen, there is some absolute corruption going on here in the liberal world.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So we want to keep our eye on that. And then, of course, we'll be watching the big, beautiful bill as it goes into the Senate. We're going to follow that with you guys. That'll be coming in the upcoming episodes. We're going to do the best that we can to be able to give you factual news and factual representation the best that we can. But aside from that, Hex, I guess if there's anything you got, we can move on to the next episode.
Nope. The only thing I've got is I just want to tell everybody again, thanks for joining us tonight on this Friday evening of Thursday for us, because this is pre-recorded again. Thanks for joining us. Hit that thumbs up down there, and we're going to leave you with these last 2 episodes of The Fall of the Cabal. Really pay close attention to these last 2 episodes, especially the last episode, because it's really good. I don't know if anybody's watched the documentary on Project Looking Glass, but the last episode has a lot to do with Project Looking Glass. Pay attention to what they say in there and think about it. So I'm Hex 7 and fellow host Telegram.
Just in case you were wondering, I do drink a lot out of this cup, and it is Jaeger bombs, and I am kind of a trailer park boy. But here we go. On to the video, my friend.
Peace out. God bless. And where we go one, we go all. Good night.
When Q arose on October 28, 2017, little did we know that a new era had started. Something big, something massive started unfolding before our very eyes, but most people remained completely in the dark. Through the Q drops, hints, clues, and questions were planted like seeds, waiting for humanity to be picked up, researched, and unraveled. Bit by bit, we, the people, woke up. Using other means than the mainstream media, the QAnons started communicating with each other through Facebook, Twitter, and other social media. The same social media that was set up by the cabal to monitor the people 24/7 were now used to find each other and to spread news and findings. There was no stopping us anymore. People in France went out into the streets in yellow vests, showing President Macron that they no longer complied. What started off with small groups evolved into When Q arose on October 28, 2017, little did we know that a new era had started. Something big, something massive started unfolding before our very eyes, but most people remained completely in the dark. Through the Q drops, hints, clues, and questions were planted like seeds, waiting for humanity to be picked up, researched, and unraveled. Bit by bit, we, the people, woke up. Using other means than the mainstream media, the QAnons started communicating with each other through Facebook, Twitter, and other social media. The same social media that was set up by the cabal to monitor the people 24/7 were now used to find each other and to spread news and findings. There was no stopping us anymore. People in France went out into the streets in yellow vests, showing President Macron that they no longer complied. What started off with small groups evolved into mass protests. For over a year now, tens of thousands of people have been gathering every Saturday. Not just in France, but in Spain, Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden, Bulgaria, Turkey, Poland, Hungary, Taiwan, Australia, Iraq, Israel. The mainstream media tried to make people believe it was just a fading phenomenon, but the people saw through their lies. George Soros then intervened in his own special way. He paid his people to mingle with the yellow vests and start riots. The ever-successful way to discredit a group of protesters with peaceful intentions, make them look like vandals and aggressors. Soros's rats attacked the police. But this strategy didn't work either. His rats were not very smart. They forgot to put on yellow vests, and in the heat of the fight, they shouted, "Paris! Paris! Antifa!" Then they forgot who they were supposed to attack, so they went for the yellow vests as well. Macron got scared. He told the French police to strike down the protests with all means necessary. But the police officers took off their helmets in solidarity with the yellow vests. What else could the cabal do? Use extreme violence. Army forces were deployed. Snipers were put on rooftops to shoot at the yellow vests if necessary. Thousands of people got injured. People died. France is in the middle of a civil war, but the mainstream media remains silent. 23 yellow vests have died for believing in a better world. South America too shows massive protests, where people demand their corrupt governments to step down. The world is experiencing the biggest revolution ever. The worst nightmare of the cabal has come true. The people have woken up. And contrary to other revolutions that humanity went through in the past, this revolution is one of knowledge, understanding of how things are run by the elite, and the willingness to work together to create a better world. A revolution of the people can only work when there is help at the top. That help was never there in the past, but now there is. That is what makes this revolution different. We have an ally at the top, an ally that we refer to as Q. Q is a group of people, not an individual. The intel Q provides is top level. I believe Q comprises of Donald J. Trump and some of his most loyal army generals. Without the help of the army top, the plan that is unfolding would never stand a chance. But there's more to Q than meets the eye. I am convinced there are some secret components that will be revealed soon. President Trump and the entire Q team are working out a plan that has been in the making for the past 20 years. a plan so all-encompassing, it took this long to calculate every step, every move to perfection. Every possible outcome of each and every step was thoroughly mapped out, leading to the next optimal move. We're talking probability calculation at the highest level. How do we know? Because Q made predictions of events that we, the people, could never have foreseen. President Trump gave clues in his speeches that pointed to events that were about to unfold, but most people didn't even notice them. The mainstream media made fun of them, but the QAnons recognized them and realized just how brilliant Q really was. Let me give you a few examples. In the middle of a press conference in November 2017, Trump stopped a few times to take a sip of water from a small plastic bottle. It seemed weird, completely overdone. He repeated this a month later in the middle of a talk about national security. He held the glass with two hands like a child. The mainstream media went hysterical, claiming the president was either retarded or suffering from some degenerative disease. The QAnons, however, knew immediately that he was pointing out something. The water bottle contained Fiji water. Fiji water is bottled on the Isle of Wakanda. In 1973, Wakanda was bought by a Canadian businessman, David Gilmour. In 1996, he founded Fiji Waters. In 2016, Claire Bronfman, heiress to the multi-billion-dollar Seagram liquor fortune, bought 80% of Wakanda from Gilmour and financed the setup of Nexium on the island. Exactly, the sex cult run by Keith Raniere, who branded his initial into the women that he kept on the island as sex slaves, who were lured in by sweet-faced Alison Mack, the Smallville actress. The ball started rolling, arrests were made, and in April 2019, Raniere was found guilty on all charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking. Some of his victims were minors. Claire Bronfman and her sister Sarah pleaded guilty on all charges, as did Alison Mack. More incriminating things will come to the surface soon. Nexium donated a large amount of money to the Clinton Foundation. Claire Bronfman was CEO of a company called Bronfman Rothschild, as was Evelyn Rothschild and his wife Lynn. Remember them from the previous episodes? Isn't it fascinating how the same key players keep popping up? There's one more disturbing thing about this case, which involves the Dalai Lama. In May 2009, the Bronfman sisters organized an event with the Dalai Lama in Albany. There was a lot of criticism towards the Dalai Lama. How could he connect his good name with a sex cult? But he decided to go anyway. 10 days after the event, the Dalai Lama Trust was founded. According to its tax filings, the trust received $2.2 million in donations in its first year. Was the Dalai Lama bought to connect himself to Nexium? According to an inside Nexium member, this was indeed the case. The Dalai Lama's office and the Bronfman sisters denied the allegation. Now that this has come out into the open, it would be nice if the Dalai Lama would at least explain why he went along with the sex cult or apologize. But instead, he blames Trump on unethical behavior. Now, why was the Fiji case so important? Nexium will soon turn out to be just a small fish compared to what's coming. Think crimes against children, sex trafficking, and satanic child sacrifice. Think big names like the Clintons, the Obamas, and the Podestas. What Trump did was he started off with a case important enough to be presented to the people, but small enough not to completely shock them. He chose Nexium to let the public get used to the major offenses that are about to be revealed. This is what we call red-pilling the people, a term coined in the movie The Matrix. Do you want the blue pill or the red pill? If you choose the red pill, you will be shown the truth, and there's no way back. Here's another example of Trump's brilliant strategy. In June 2017, Melania boarded the presidential plane on her way to visit a youth detention center with Mexican migrant children who had been separated from their parents. She wore a coat with the text, "I really don't care, do you?" It was a strange choice, for the coat wasn't fashionable at all, and the text was quite provocative, to say the least. Once again, the mainstream media went into a frenzy, but the QAnons knew the Trumps were giving yet another clue. The coat turned out to be a Zara product. An investigation made clear that Zara made use of slave labor. As a result, Armancio Ortega, founder and CEO of Zara, resigned 6 months after Melania's action. Yet another clue that was being given by Melania was the fact that these children were not separated from their parents, but saved from child traffickers. More than 8,500 CEOs resigned over the last 2 years, many for unclear reasons, just like Q had predicted. Was Trump indeed draining the swamp like he had promised? One of Q's crumbs that was repeated several times was, "We have the server." It quite clearly referred to Hillary Clinton's server, the one she tried so hard to destroy before it would be used against her in a court of law. But how did the Q team lay their hands on it? The clue was given in Helsinki, Finland, when Trump met Vladimir Putin on July 16, 2018. Trump openly asked the audience, "Where is the server? Where are the servers? They are missing. Where are they? What happened to Hillary's emails? 33,000 emails. They're gone. Just gone. I think it's a disgrace." Remember the scene with the soccer ball? Putin handed Trump the ball and said, "The ball is now in your court." Trump took the ball and said, "This will go to my son, Barron." He then threw the ball to Melania. What was so special about the ball? Why the big smiles and the twinkling in their eyes? What was going on here? And why did Melania post a tweet with this picture later that year? Many QAnons agree on the theory that the content of the servers was inside that soccer ball, containing enough incriminating evidence to put a lot of people in Washington, D.C. behind bars for life. Try evidence for the Uranium One scandal, where Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, and with knowledge and approval of President Obama, gave Russia control of 20% of America's uranium by approving the Rosatom deal. The Russian company Rosatom had bought the Canadian company Uranium One in 2010, 3 years after the latter had purchased Eurasia, owned by Frank Giustra, our friend with the pedophile logo from Part 4. Remember? Giustra had officially stepped down after the purchase, so why did he donate $145 million to the Clinton Foundation right after the Rosatom deal was signed? Why on earth was he too embraced by the Dalai Lama? And why the hell did he get the Dalai Lama Humanitarian Award when he is involved up to his ears in child trafficking? Why did Bill Clinton receive $500,000 for a talk in Moscow right after the Rosatom deal was announced? Do you know what we're looking at here? Bribery, corruption, pay to play, money laundering, and high treason. This was the real Russian collusion. Oh, by the way, why did Trump say this soccer ball was going to his son Barron? According to insiders, Barron is extremely intelligent with an IQ of 146. He is said to be incredible with computers, especially when it comes to hacking, cracking codes, passwords, etc. Bearing this in mind, I so understand the facial expressions that one fine day in Helsinki. Soon, very soon, there will be arrests, mass arrests. Everything has been laid out, 20 years of preparations. The CIA, FBI, DOJ, NSA, every three-letter agency has been cleared of deep state actors. How can you make arrests when the agencies are corrupted? You cannot. That's why Comey, McCabe, Brennan, and other key players had to go. That's why some of them suddenly stepped down while others were fired. The stage has been set. The world will be in for a major shock. How on earth are people going to respond when it becomes clear that Obama, Pelosi, Schumer, Feinstein, Strzok, Page, the Clintons, that they all tried everything they could possibly think of to impeach the President of the US? We will soon see that it went much further than just spying. It went as far as organized murder attempts. The cabal, the deep state, tried to assassinate the President of the United States on multiple occasions. They tried to force Trump to go to war with North Korea, but after annihilating the cabal strongholds there, he brought peace. They now try to force him to go to war with Iran, but I can assure you he will do the exact same thing. Annihilate the cabal strongholds first, and then bring peace. Q said it would happen this way. First Korea, then Iran, Israel last. Then there is Obama's high treason. Everything you were told about him by the mainstream media will soon turn out to be false, falsified on purpose. Soon we will be presented with hard evidence concerning his birth certificate, his ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, the extremist party behind ISIS. Pictures such as these will start to surface. Obama and the Clintons integrated the Muslim Brotherhood in the American government at the highest level. Remember Huma Abedin, Hillary's right hand? Her parents were directly connected to the Muslim Brotherhood, as is her brother. Where do you think that leaves her? Remember John McCain? What was he doing in Iraq with the ISIS top 4? Why did Trump say they caught the 5 most wanted ISIS leaders? Not 4, 5. Did you notice something weird about the flag on his coffin? It was wrinkled. Only traitors get wrinkled flags. It was a code. High treason, death penalty. Did you really believe he died of cancer? Do you still believe Osama bin Laden was the enemy? That he was responsible for 9/11? That he set up Al-Qaeda? He was a CIA agent before he became the enemy. His American name was Tim Osman. Osama Osman. Did you hear about Team 6? The Navy SEALs who killed him? They all died 3 months later when the helicopter crashed. No eyewitnesses who might once tell the tale of what really happened. We've been lied to on a scale we cannot fathom just yet. History books will have to be rewritten. America was sold to the highest bidder by Obama, the Clintons, and the Bushes. Do you realize the state of shock people are going to be in when the truth finally hits the surface? Do you understand why Guantanamo Bay has been fully upgraded and expanded? Do you have any idea how many sealed indictments there are waiting for the perfect moment to be unsealed so that arrests can be made? More than 100,000. Many will be prosecuted for treason, some for high treason. High treason means capital punishment, death penalty. There will be chaos and shock, but there will be guidance from totally unexpected mystery guests. This moment in time is one that will make history, one that is unprecedented in the history of mankind. Do you think I'm exaggerating? Find out in our final part, number 10. When everything we've seen in the previous episodes is presented to the public with undeniable evidence, people will be in shock. The normal way to deal with shocking information is to first deny it and ridicule the messenger, then get scared, angry or depressed, and finally accept it as the new paradigm. This will take some time. I believe we're going to need a spokesperson to convey to the world what happened. Somebody who will be believed by everybody, Democrats and Republicans alike. That person cannot be Donald Trump. He will be hated by the Democrats, no matter how much peace he brings upon them. If I were to choose, for the US at least, it would have to be JFK Jr., John as his father used to call him. Loved and trusted by the entire nation, mourned by every American citizen. Too bad he is no longer amongst us. Or is he? When I first heard about the possibility of him still being alive, I thought, oh God, not yet another conspiracy theory. But when I did some more research, I started doubting. This is an aerial photograph of JFK's memorial. That's right, it's a Q. Remember this code? It was engraved in the ship bell on JFK's boat. Where we go one, we go all. JFK was murdered because he wanted to expose and get rid of the cabal. He intended to start with the CIA, just like Donald Trump. He too knew that the CIA had turned into an uncontrollable monster that no president or government could restrain, but he had no idea what he was up against. JFK was assassinated. Nobody will ever forget these pictures. John saluting at his father's funeral. The entire nation mourned. Junior grew up to be a lawyer. He swore he would avenge his father and take his killers to court, even if he had to bring down the government, as he put it. He ran for the New York Senate seat in 1999, as did Hillary Clinton. John would have won by miles. He was born to be the next president of the US. But it wasn't meant to be. On July 16, 1999, his plane crashed into the ocean. There were no survivors. All three on board, John, his wife Carolyn, and her sister Lauren, died upon impact. Their bodies were retrieved and cremated. The remains were kept in Tiffany blue boxes before they were scattered at sea. The entire nation was in shock. Donald J. Trump was in shock. He and John were close friends. When John died, Trump swore he would finish his mission. He promised he would take the murderers of JFK, Sr. and Jr. to court. He swore to drain the swamp. Could John Jr. still be alive? Is it possible that he staged his own death, knowing there was no way he would survive the wrath of the cabal? The only way to possibly fulfill the mission was to stay low. A master plan was developed, and in the course of 20 years, every single step was analyzed and executed. An entire team was put together with insiders at the top who were willing to give their lives for the cause, the annihilation of the cabal and the liberation of the people. They left hints and clues as to inform those who had already woken up to the truth. Trump communicated directly with the people by means of his Twitter account, thus avoiding the corrupted mainstream media. In every speech and every tweet, he used codes for the QAnons to pick up on. He used spelling errors such as kefirfe instead of coffee, referring to a new act about the saving of all social media posts by the president. The act was introduced 12 days after Trump's tweet. He wrote hamburgers instead of hamburgers, referring to people who are below the devil and who commit acts that even the devil would consider evil. He wrote smoking gun instead of smoking gun, referring to the secret, perverted orgies of John Podesta and friends. Trump's clumsy behavior showed his victory over CABAL key players. Every move, every so-called error, every little detail was important. Everything was a communication with the people. Remember when Donald and Melania Trump were welcomed by the Obamas at the White House on day one of Trump's presidency? Remember the gift Melania gave to Michelle? The Tiffany blue box? What does that remind you of? Remember the Tiffany blue coat Melania was wearing? So many references to JFK Sr. and Jr. There's one more clue that John might indeed have staged his own death. In September 1995, he founded and edited a glossy politics lifestyle magazine called George. In this particular edition, the cover seems to be giving a lot of clues. Survival Guide to the Future? Interesting. Bill Gates on world domination? Okay. Hillary Clinton, Indictment Day. Will Hillary get busted? Wow! The lady reappears in the editing room. In the background, there she is. Platform 2020. That's the year of the next presidential election. And then it reads, buckle your chin strap and hold on as George enters the time warp and re-emerges in the year 2020. Time warp? Is this John communicating that he will reappear in 2020? If John is alive, would he show himself to the public from time to time? Disguised, of course, yet clear enough for the anons to see? Meet Vincent Fusca, presented to the public as a Trump enthusiast and volunteer at the Trump rallies. Now I know he's not the spitting image of John Jr. Different nose, different mouth, not quite as handsome. But hey, if they can make Eddie Murphy look like this, everything is possible, right? Bear that in mind. Vincent Fusca does not seem to have a past. No old pictures, no family tree, nothing. He suddenly appeared. His name means Conqueror of the Dark. He often wears a fedora hat, very similar to JFK Sr. And this I find interesting. His nose changes. Sometimes it's bigger than John's, sometimes it's not. Now I can understand why John would change his appearance slightly from time to time as to give hints to the QAnons. But why would a Trump fan do such a thing? Then there's the mystery lady in the audience, always close to Fusca. My, doesn't that big smile look familiar? What about Lauren, Carolyn's sister? The two were very close. Maybe Carolyn didn't want to disappear without her? Maybe she was informed on the plan? Maybe she decided to join them and stay low as well? Could this be Carolyn, presented as Fusca's colleague at the rallies? When Q was asked, is JFK Jr. alive? The answer was no. But when Sr. dies, Jr. no longer is Jr. The question should have been, is JFK alive? Where does all of this leave us? With the perfect spokesman when he is needed. And that may be sooner than you think. As soon as the FISA documents are released, the sealed indictments are unsealed and the arrests are made, that's when I expect him to step forward. The world is in the middle of the greatest transition ever. An entire era of suppression of the masses is about to end. I doubt if we can fathom the vastness of what is about to be revealed, nor the impact it will have on the world. Think about it. World peace to start off with. That's literally what Trump said to a reporter who asked if he'd be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. The prize will be world peace. Can you imagine a world without war? I don't think we can. We've been led to believe that war is normal, that it's part of being human. Well, it's not. Suppression isn't normal. Poverty isn't normal. There's enough food to feed the entire world. The problem is uneven distribution of means, money, and food. Taxes aren't normal. They're not even legal. Trump has already stated he will get rid of the Fed and several taxes, including income tax. As we've seen in part 2, they are illegal, unconstitutional. Can you imagine how much money can be saved that way? Can you even begin to imagine what even distribution will look like? Then there's the impact all of this is going to have on our use of energy resources. I'm sure you've heard of Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor of many beautiful things in the area of electricity, magnetism, and physics in general. An absolute brilliant mind who wanted to share his invention of free energy with the world. This was a thorn in the side of the cabal, who made billions of profit with oil, coal, and other fossil fuels. Tesla was arrested. His work was stolen. All his inventions were seized by the American government. John Trump, Donald's uncle, was a brilliant physicist, electrical engineer, and inventor. During World War II, he joined the National Defense Research Committee. In 1943, he reviewed and analyzed the Tesla papers right after Tesla died. That's right, Tesla's inventions on clean and free energy, on anti-gravity, and on much more that has been kept hidden from the public because there was no money in it, fell into the hands of Donald Trump's uncle, whom he loved and greatly admired. Guess how that fits in Q's plan to save the world. Oh, and there's one more thing. Take a look at this picture. Doesn't John Trump remind you of someone? Somebody very important in the truth movement? Julian Assange. Could he be John Trump's son? Donald Trump's cousin? Let's put it this way. Nothing surprises me anymore, and it sure makes sense. And bearing in mind all the magnificent inventions of both Nikola Tesla and John Trump, I wouldn't be surprised either if they had invented a time machine. After all, if you can bend space, which was definitely within the reach of Tesla, then you can change time. If quantum physics is correct, if you can really jump from one timeline to another parallel one, you can time travel, change certain things and go back without people noticing a thing. Unless you leave clues behind, like a magazine that seems totally out of place. Like Q predictions of specific outcomes that could impossibly have been foretold, not even with the use of quantum probability theory. Is that how Q works? With direct knowledge of the future through various timelines, probability waves? Is that why Trump is still alive and even missile attacks have been countered? Is this how Q manages to predict exact poll numbers and events to the minute and second precise as encoded in the Q drops and the Q clock? Is this how the mysterious author Ingersoll Lockwood was able to write a book in 1889 and another one 4 years later about young Baron Trump and his adventures through a space-time portal guided by a man called Don, the master of all masters? All current topics are in the books. Dirty politics, an unexpected candidate, a man called Pence, Russia, even the exact location of the Trump Tower. 1889? The mysterious author also wrote a book about the last president. Furthermore, his name appears on a watch, the Ingersoll Trump Pocket Watch. The same sort of watch used by the White Rabbit in Alice of Wonderland, a tale often referred to by Q. Time travel? The world as we know it is about to end. What is awaiting us is a new era of peace, liberty, equality, and harmony. The dawn of the golden age as described in each and every source text. I have grown to fully trust Don, master of all masters. He may seem rude, clumsy, and silly from time to time, but he has earned my trust in the past 2.5 years when I suspiciously followed his every move. He is a genius, a 5D chess player, a man with a huge heart. There will be a relatively short bridge period between the two in which people can adjust to the new paradigm and its energies. I don't think there will be much chaos. Everything is ready to be implemented. A new banking system without interest, new ways to educate our children, a new medical system without poisonous, addictive chemicals, and so on and so forth. All we have to do is be patient, watch everything unfold, trust the plan, do whatever we can to help others wake up, and remain focused and ready. Ready to assist, ready to help create a beautiful new world. Some people will wake up faster than others, remain calm and in service to all. Or as Q once put it so beautifully, as long as you sleep, we will fight for you. Where we go one, we go all.